What's up guys, this is Sapphire and I'm joined once again by Varus. Now we're covering the upper bracket semi-finals here in the PSI Storm tournament. This is the best of three between Oxygen, who is our blue Terran, and his opposition is Adro, the light blue Zerg, and its Scrap Station, which in my opinion is the Zerg home ground, so it's going to be a little bit tougher for Oxygen on this one. And Oxygen actually made a liar of me last game, after pointing out all the controversy he caused by being the cheese all-in master in the Blizzcon tournament. He didn't actually do that. And actually, considering that had almost every big name in Southeast Asia in that tournament, Oxygen actually came third and pocketed himself $1,000 US. So I completely condone all the cheese and all the name calling that went on because of that tournament, because Oxygen just played really well and he went all in and cheesing all the time. But last game, after pointing all that out, he played completely standard. It's just this mission that all the Southeast Asia top players want to do, is just to make a liar out of me. So really, I'm not going to say he's going to cheese, but it is Scrap. So if there's going to be some cheese, it should be here. It should have been on Steps of War, but no, he played standard and took that really strongly. But we're seeing an early gas coming online here from Oxygen, and remember, this is before the patch. Before the 1.1 and the 1.12 patch. So Reapers are still quite viable in this patch, and really interested to see if Oxygen will go Reapers in this match.
Yeah, I don't know. I think those SCVs are going to have trouble keeping up when he brings half of them, but it definitely looks like Reapers could be on the way here, as we see an early expansion going now, and this could be a bit of trouble now if we do indeed see Reapers. But we'll have to see how this goes. Andro losing the last match in the very final moments of the match. Just a bit of poor execution there, but both of them were fairly even right up until that last crux battle, so you have to see how this goes.
Yeah, I feel that Adro really has did the same thing he did in the first game against Red Archon. He was playing so strong, executing so well, and then just threw it away in the final moments. He was doing really quite good in that game against Red Archon, and then he just blew his window, let him get that third base, and then Terran can really pull it back against Zerg with a fully operational, secure third base. And that's exactly what happened with Oxygen. Oxygen was behind, drops were being contained by Adro, wasn't really doing much damage. The muta harass was really nice, but then Adro unmistakably gets lets Oxygen take that third base, becomes the Terran Death Star, and just destroyed him basically. It was bad execution in that fight, but I think he should never have let him get that third base. So right now we are seeing a very similar opening from Oxygen once again. That early gas was not for Reapers like I was actually thinking, but no, it's actually going to be for fast Hellions, fast reactor Hellions, and this is before the Roaches had additional range, so it's super dangerous to Zerg, especially a Zerg who goes hatch first on Scrap Station. So I'm thinking that Oxygen's will be a little bit more effective this time around with that Hellion harassment, because it's Scrap and because there is such a big gap between your main and your natural. Even though in Scrap, where Zerg just loves this because it's so easy to scout your opponent and there's so much you can do, but there's a huge area for Hellions to run in. There's lots of directions they can go without getting trapped, and we are seeing a Spinecrawler going down for Adro, who has scouted that factory and he does see what's going on. But once these Hellions roll in, it's going to be really tough for Adro to deal with, especially considering that Hellions can basically waltz into his main, and a second Spinecrawler going up in his main now, so not sure if that's going to be enough, especially if the Hellions slip by these Spinecrawlers with a decent amount of hit points.
Yeah, and it looks like Oxygen's getting his starport down, so he's probably going to do the same things last time and grab some medivacs to drop. It is a really short flight distance, so he could be dropping right into the back, and those Spinecrawlers could be way out of position. He didn't do it particularly well last game. He tried the same thing and caused almost no damage, so let's see if he can execute it a bit better this time, as the Hellions do move out across the middle of the map, and we'll see how much damage they can do. If they can slip past these Spinecrawlers, like you said, they could do a fair bit of damage, but I wouldn't be surprised to see a couple dropped in a bit later. Yeah,
waiting for that third Hellion to catch up, hiding behind the smoke wall. Now he is coming into the expansion, trying to work on this Queen. Nice skirting of the Spinecrawler, even trying to barbecue the few Zerglings there. Good control here from Oxygen. Does not want to lose that first one, does lose one of the Hellions, but he's barbecued so many Zerglings right now. 5 kills on this Corporal Hellion. Queen desperately trying to go to work, flinging her antenna like crazy at these two Hellions, which are both redlining right now. They are critical position right now, but they're still being cheeky enough to get a shot off on that extractor, and this has slowed down that expansion. Speed Lings trying to go to work on these Hellions right now, but these Hellion harass was a lot more successful. Even though it didn't take out that many drones, it shut down the expansion and took out almost all of Adro's links, forcing him to produce more, and he's being a little bit worried now, spreading the creep like he should be, trying to get that those spine crawlers into a forward position. If he can get them forward near his ramp, he'll be much better. But as we're seeing once again, this is basically a cover as we see 2 starports coming online, seeing Banshees coming out. Spire is going down, so it's going to be a race as to how fast and how well these Banshees go before the Spire gets out. So we do see once again this medevac loading up with Hellions though, so I'm not sure how well Adro is going to be able to defend this time, because this medevac is coming in, dropping those Hellions into the back of Adro's base, running into the drone line, barbecuing one. It's the 4 Hellions. They're going to one-shot drones, trying to use these drones to get us around. Somehow saves this Hellion. This one Hellion still redlining, barbecues more drones. Spinecrawler kicking in now, but these Hellions are chasing these drones, getting so many kills, and Oxygen might have just won the game right there with that Hellion drop. So much more effective this time, and only just being cleaned up. I think Adro is just so far behind right now. Checking out the income tab, he's fallen down to 20 harvesters, and that was with a huge advantage before, so I'm not quite sure how Adro is going to recover here.
Yeah, big loss there for Adro. It looks like Oxygen's getting into some every harassment possible kind of play. He's got Vikings flying around, he's got Banshees coming in, he's been doing Hellion drops, so he's been putting the hurt on early here on Adro, and it looks like he did it a bit better than last game, and Adro's going to have to struggle to get back into this. His income is half that of Oxygen at the moment, so I'm going to see what he can do to pull himself back into this.
Yeah, would not be surprised to see all these Marines jump into this medevac and then see no cloak on these Banshees yet, so I really think that these Banshees are going to come across and use the Marines as a shield against the Mutalisks, unless he just goes for an outright push across the map with everything. But I feel that the 3 Banshees, along with this many Marines and a medevac, is going to be tough to deal with. He is going to go for the outright push. Would not be surprised to see half his SCVs joining there. He is always rough on his colonists. Mutalisks coming in to the main of Oxygen, trying to do some harassment here, picking off a few SCVs. Now we're seeing these SCVs pulled off. Is Oxygen just going to attack with them? Yes, they are. Because of that Mutalisk harassment, his serfs are being pressed into service and being stripped across the map to attack. That is the Oxygen way. At least it's going to be in Oxygen style now. Now, Adro has to hold on here. It's going to be tough, especially once these SCVs get here. They are going to form a decent defensive line, trying to use his Spinecrawler to best effectiveness. Not many Mutalisks here. Now the SCVs are there, and Adro just calls GG. So Oxygen 2-0s him, and he does it in Oxygen style by taking all his SCVs and attacking with them. So I'm glad to see that Oxygen's living up to his reputation at the end of that game.
Yeah, I think weapons training must be a basic part, a compulsory part of the boot camp for SCVs here, because they definitely seem to get into the thick of action when you're in Oxygen's army. He's just committed to every type of harass possible, and then doing his trademark pulling SCVs off the line and just taking the game early here.
Yeah, it's definitely worked out for Oxygen, who now 2-0s Adro. So Adro falls down to the lower bracket and has to contend with the craziness that's down there. But Adro now goes through to the upper bracket final. Now the interesting thing about that is not the grand final, it's just the upper bracket final. I know it gets confusing with all this double elimination stuff, but basically from winning the semi-final in the upper bracket, he goes to the upper bracket final, and then from that game will be one upper bracket winner. Now, after all the people have been eliminated once and made their way through the free-for-all down the bottom in the crazy lower bracket, then the lower bracket winner will play the upper bracket winner in the grand final. So Oxygen is not in the grand final yet, he's in the upper bracket final. If he wins that, he will be in the grand final. So I know it's confusing, but it does give better players more chances to prove themselves, so the format is something that I actually think is really, really good. So yeah, that is Oxygen 2-0ing Adro, who now has to contend in the lower bracket, and the PSI Storm tournament is really starting to get exciting.